If you eat at these 7 popular restaurants, you could be putting your health at serious risk. We've investigated all the major restaurant chains operating in the USA, digging into everything from their suppliers and the ingredients used in their dishes to the sanitary conditions in their kitchens, all to find the 7 worst places you might be better off avoiding entirely. Let's kick things off with number 7, Subway. The brand markets itself as the healthier fast food option, emphasizing fresh bread and crisp vegetables. You get to choose exactly what goes into your sandwich, and their ads are filled with happy customers biting into thick subs packed with quality ingredients. Millions of people across the USA walk into a Subway each year, believing they're making a smarter choice than grabbing a burger. The tuna sandwich stands out on the menu as one of the most popular items. It's packed with protein and seems straightforward, just tuna and mayonnaise on fresh bread. However, in 2021, a class action lawsuit in San Francisco prompted laboratory analysis of Subway's tuna sandwiches. Researchers tested 20 samples from various locations, and the results were shocking. Out of 20 samples tested, 19 of them showed no detectable tuna DNA whatsoever. That's right, 0. The lab did, however, find chicken DNA in all 20 samples, while 11 contained pork DNA and 7 had beef DNA. The lab report concluded that either the product is so heavily processed that its original DNA is impossible to identify, or something else entirely is filling those sandwiches. Subway denied all the allegations, but the test results spread like wildfire across American media within days. And the situation with their tuna becomes even more questionable when you look at what else Subway is serving. In 2017, researchers at Trent University in Ontario tested the chicken in Subway sandwiches, and what they found was deeply concerning. The oven-roasted chicken sandwich contained only 53.6% chicken DNA, and the sweet onion chicken teriyaki dropped even lower to just 42.8%. The rest of the filling was made up of soy and various other additives. For comparison, similar products from McDonald's and Wendy's tested at over 88% chicken DNA. Then came the bombshell ruling about their bread. In 2020, the Irish Supreme Court decreed that Subway's bread could not legally be defined as bread. Its sugar content reaches as high as 10%, a staggering 5 times more than the maximum 2% allowed under Irish food law for a product to be classified as a staple bread. An American analysis of Subway's ingredients confirmed similar findings, with sugar appearing as the 4th ingredient in the wheat bread recipe. Dextrose and malt extract add even more sweetness, which is why a former Subway employee described the bread as being closer to cake dough than actual bread. She also mentioned that the meat quality was on par with other fast food chains, despite the chain's healthy image. The sandwiches often contain formed patties of meat mixed with salt, thickeners, and frequently skin and cartilage. You walk into Subway thinking you're getting something fresh and healthy. You walk out having consumed a mystery protein on a sugar-laden dough. That healthy choice turns out to be nothing more than clever marketing disguised as nutrition. Number 6 on our list takes us to Captain D's. This American chain specializes in fried fish, with locations dotted all across the country. Their branding heavily features imagery of weathered sea captains and coastal fishing towns, suggesting a fresh-from-the-dock, all-American experience. The restaurant decor often hints at New England freshness, cold Atlantic waters, and premium seafood. The prices certainly match this premium image, with meals costing significantly more than your standard fast food burger and fries. But this carefully crafted image starts to fall apart when you look closer at where the fish actually comes from. The branding creates a major problem. Most of the fish served at Captain D's doesn't come from American coastal waters. The tuna is likely sourced from Thailand. The pollock often comes from China, specifically the Sea of Okhotsk. While some of their salmon might indeed come from the Atlantic, that represents just one item on a menu full of fish from all over the globe. The real story, however, often lies with their whitefish, particularly the swai or basa they sometimes use, which is a type of catfish. This fish is farmed in Vietnam, often in the Mekong River, one of the most polluted rivers on the planet. A Brazilian study from 2015 detected methylmercury in Phyllus. The same study found melandialdehyde, a marker for oxidation and degradation. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has, at various times, issued import alerts and increased inspections on Vietnamese catfish due to concerns over drug residues and contaminants. American consumers may be eating this fish regularly at fast food chains, looking at pictures of idyllic American harbors. Dr. Magdalena Smith, a nutritionist from the Institute of Food and Nutrition, warns that fish from these specific regions in Vietnam can contain heavy metals, including mercury. The World Wildlife Fund has officially advised against eating swai due to the environmental impact of its farming. Industry experts have called this kind of marketing approach a trick that insults the intelligence of customers. Captain D's and similar chains have built a brand on all American seafood associations while serving fish that health authorities have repeatedly raised concerns about. Number 5 brings us to Burger King. The chain operates thousands of restaurants across the United States. In February of 2022, Burger King's parent company announced a major push for modernizing its American locations, though the total number of restaurants has been shrinking slightly. The horse meat scandal of 2013 remains the biggest stain on Burger King's reputation, a controversy that reached across the globe. A supplier named Silvercrest was found to be using an unapproved contractor from Poland who mixed horse meat into beef shipments. The contamination affected products in numerous countries, sparking a massive public outcry. Diego Bahamonte, the global vice president for quality at Burger King, issued a public apology stating that the supplier had failed the company, and in turn, the company had failed its guests. The partnership with Silvercrest was terminated immediately. A Whopper weighs around 297 grams and delivers 617 calories, 34 grams of fat, and 2.29 grams of salt. This single sandwich provides 52% of the recommended daily sodium intake, according to Professor Hannah Moore from the Institute of Food and Nutrition. Order a triple Whopper, and the numbers jump to 1,056 calories and 2.7 grams of salt. Studies from the National Center for Nutrition Education have shown that fast food fries contain an average of 6.42% of trans fat isomers in their total fat content. The horse meat scandal revealed just how fragile and opaque these massive supply chains can be, failing without any warning. Customers who thought they were ordering beef were given horse meat without their knowledge. The company apologized, and the supplier was dropped. But the questions about ingredient sourcing in the fast food industry remain. Number 4 takes us to the world of gyro and shawarma spots all across the United States. This corner of the food industry operates largely outside the major fast food chains, with thousands of small independent shops serving up these sliced meat wraps to an estimated 5 million Americans every single day. But recent findings from health authorities paint a deeply troubling picture of what's really going on behind the counter. The Food and Drug Administration, along with local health departments, conducted a series of surprise inspections in the first quarter of 2023. Investigators visited 109 different gyro and shawarma shops. They found serious violations in 89 of them. That's a staggering 81.7% of all the restaurants they checked. Laboratory tests on 98 batches of meat revealed problems in 54.1% of the samples. A lead investigator with the FDA called the results absolutely appalling. Gyros advertised as 100% lamb were found to contain chicken. Some samples even showed contamination with pork, a major issue for customers who avoid pork for religious reasons. Authorities issued 48 official sanctions, with fines totaling over $17,000. The quality of the meat used in these budget-friendly shops reveals even more problems. That iconic spinning cone of meat, often romanticized in food blogs, frequently contains as little as 47% actual meat. The rest is a slurry of mechanically separated meat, beef fat making up as much as 20%, along with skins, stabilizers, and fillers. This mechanically separated meat costs roughly 10 times less than real muscle tissue. A food scientist, Dr. Michael Warren, explains that this cheap substitute carries a much higher risk of microbiological contamination. A popular chain, NYC Gyro King, operates over 43 locations, Despite having no actual connection to New York City, the chain actually started in a small town in rural Pennsylvania. Customer reviews often praise the fresh vegetables, but complain about dry, rubbery, and undercooked meat, with prices ranging from $9 to $15, a price point that just doesn't match the poor quality. In one investigation by a food blogger, 5 out of 7 gyro shops he visited flat out refused to show him their ingredient labels when asked. American food safety laws require restaurants to provide this information to any customer who requests it. But the worst documented incident happened in May of 2023 at a place called Mediterranean Grill in Houston, Texas. Over 50 people became part of an epidemiological investigation after eating at their Main Street location. Customers reported fevers reaching 102 degrees Fahrenheit, accompanied by severe diarrhea and vomiting. One person spent a week in the hospital, and a 3-year-old child was among those who got sick. Health inspectors found salmonella bacteria in the beef and on one of the employees. The restaurant was temporarily shut down. Then in March of 2024, authorities in the Midwest busted an illegal slaughtering operation. Animals of unknown origin were being processed in an officially condemned slaughterhouse. The uninspected meat was then shipped to restaurants in Chicago, Detroit, and Minneapolis. Police arrested 2 individuals transporting a shipment where half the meat had absolutely no documentation whatsoever. Near Milwaukee, investigators uncovered an illegal processing plant containing over 3,500 pounds of frozen gyro meat and another 440 pounds of raw meat. All of it was completely missing the required USDA inspection marks. Number 3 takes us to KFC. The chain operates thousands of locations across the USA, primarily managed by massive franchisee groups. Kentucky Fried Chicken built its entire empire on a secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices, coating its signature crispy fried chicken. But the reality behind the counter raises questions about the chicken itself and what happens long after customers have finished their meal. In January of 2024, a popular American food vlogger with over 1 million subscribers posted about his recent experience. He wrote that he'd given KFC his 3rd chance in just 2 months, and unfortunately, the exact same thing happened again. He ate his meal, and within 5 to 10 minutes, he was desperately searching for the nearest restroom with crippling stomach pains. He claimed this only ever happens to him after eating at KFC. A legal expert, commenting on the situation, noted that the vlogger faced no legal risk because he was simply sharing his personal experience. In a scenario where multiple unrelated people all feel sick after eating at the same restaurant chain probably isn't just a coincidence. Health department inspections at a KFC in Plano, Texas, during November of 2023 and March of 2024 found no official violations. Dr. Emily Carter from the local public health district confirmed that the facility was operating in compliance with HACCP requirements. Still, local consumers on community Facebook groups continued to post complaints about raw, undercooked chicken and subsequent stomach issues. The nutritional data tells its own story. A 3-piece extra crispy combo with a side and a drink can deliver over 1,200 calories, 65 grams of fat, and 2,500 milligrams of sodium. This single meal provides nearly the entire recommended daily sodium intake for an adult. Historical data has even shown that a large order of KFC's potato wedges could contain over 3 grams of trans fats, well over the recommended daily limit. Nutritionist Jessica Chen warns that just one meal from KFC can easily max out an adult's salt allowance for the entire day. Trans fats are a major contributor to heart disease, high blood pressure, and obesity. The animal welfare organization Mercy for Animals has been running a campaign against KFC for years. Their investigations found that 100% of the chickens come from fast-growing breeds, slaughtered just 47 days after hatching. Over a third of these birds suffer from painful leg deformities and skin infections. The mortality rate before slaughter reaches about 4%, which means 400 birds die out of every 10,000 before even reaching processing weight. KFC has acknowledged these conditions and stated its intention to improve, but the fundamental model of using rapidly growing chickens continues. Number 2 is McDonald's. The Golden Arches represent the largest fast food chain in the USA, with well over 13,000 locations operating for decades. The company implements strict hazard analysis and critical control points, or HACCP, food safety protocols. However, these protocols didn't prevent one of the most serious documented food safety incidents in the history of American McDonald's. In September of 2020, McDonald's USA issued an official statement about the detection of Salmonella bacteria in arugula from one of their suppliers, Fresh Express. The contamination affected products sold between August 27th and September 2nd in 5 states: Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Indiana. The company immediately pulled 6 products from its menu, including the popular Caesar McWrap and the premium chicken salad. Customers who had eaten these items during that period might have unknowingly consumed the tainted food. Nutritional concerns about McDonald's products go far beyond isolated incidents like this. Clinical nutritionist Mike Roussel points to the double quarter pounder with cheese as one of the worst choices on the menu. It contains a staggering 2.5 grams of trans fats, the most harmful type of fat for your cardiovascular system. Trans fats are known to intensify inflammatory processes throughout the entire body. Similarly, the sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle packs 696 calories and 3.7 grams of salt. This single breakfast item delivers over 70% of the daily sodium limit recommended by the World Health Organization. Historical lab data revealed extremely high levels of trans fats in McDonald's fries, reaching up to 4.3 grams per large serving. The company eventually switched to a canola oil blend in 2008, effectively eliminating trans fats from their frying process. Years later, McDonald's joined an industry-wide commitment to limit trans fats to just 1 gram per 100 grams of product. The change was welcome, but it came after decades of serving products loaded with these dangerous fats. In 2019, a former McDonald's employee from a location in Austin, Texas, contacted the media with shocking claims of moldy buns and falsified expiration dates. A subsequent health inspection on the day of the visit found no violations, and the company conducted its own internal audit. One customer complained about a moldy bun was attributed to damaged packaging. While the inspection didn't find any ongoing issues, the allegations raised serious questions about what might be happening behind the scenes. The National Center for Nutrition Education warns that fast food is designed to be cheap and quick. The price at the register might seem small, but when consumed in excess, you end up paying with both your health and your wallet. The average fast food meal contains 836 calories, far exceeding the recommended maximum of 500 calories per meal. Studies show that people who eat fast food more than twice a week gain an extra 9 to 11 pounds per year, compared to those who eat it only once a week. The number 1 spot on this list goes to a chain that's rapidly expanding across the United States, with plans for 200 new locations over the next decade. Shake Shack, which originated in New York, positions itself as a higher quality burger option. Premium ingredients, better sourcing, and responsible fast food are all part of its brand identity. But a journalistic investigation from February of 2025 completely shattered that image. A major New York newspaper published the testimonies of 25 current and former Shake Shack employees, revealing catastrophic hygiene conditions at multiple locations across the city. Employees described a nightmare scenario where the same tools were used to clean both the public restrooms and the very tables where customers ate their meals. Food was routinely stored outside of refrigerators, left to sit at unsafe temperatures for hours on end. The newspaper obtained nearly 100 health inspector reports that documented mold, flies, rats and their droppings, alongside a persistent layer of grime coating entire facilities. In response, Henrik Bystrom, the head of corporate communications at Shake Shack, admitted that these situations should have never been allowed to happen. The company promptly launched an internal investigation to get to the bottom of the crisis. While no similar issues have been officially reported at other U.S. locations, consumer complaints on forums like Reddit are already buzzing, with some mentioning the meat quality now reminds them of something you'd find at a budget supermarket. This Shake Shack scandal seems to be just the tip of the iceberg, hinting at a much broader pattern of issues plaguing the American food service industry. Official health department inspections in 2024 covered 626 food service locations across the country. What they found was staggering. Inspectors uncovered significant problems in 469 of them. That's a full 75% of all checked restaurants failing to meet basic standards. The most common violations were shocking in their frequency. A whopping 56.5% of establishments failed to comply with laws on displaying prices correctly. 22.8% were caught using uncertified measuring equipment, like scales, and 10.6% were substituting cheaper ingredients for what was actually listed on the menu. Dariusz Łomowski from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau stated that the integrity of customer service leaves much to be desired, and that using cheaper, unlisted ingredients has become a shameful industry standard for some business owners. Previous investigations into fast food chains, back in 2016, revealed that a veal curry contained no veal at all, just pork. Lamb and veal kebabs were found to be a mix of pork and turkey. Burgers advertised as 100% beef sometimes contained up to 10% pork filler. A Government Accountability Office report covering the years 2020 to 2022 examined 9 major investigations and 5 audits by international commissions. It found that in 6 out of 10 cases, contaminated food was sold to the public before the health inspection procedures were even completed. In a terrifying example, food containing Listeria monocytogenes, a potentially deadly bacteria, reached consumers on 2 separate occasions before the lab results confirming the contamination even came back. The United States remains one of the few developed nations without a single unified agency responsible for food safety. Instead, the oversight duties are split between multiple agencies, creating dangerous gaps and overlaps in the system. In 2022 alone, the USA recorded 6,575 salmonella infections, a rate of 17.4 cases per 100,000 people. The most frequent culprits include Campylobacter from poultry, along with Salmonella and Listeria. These dangerous bacteria thrive in environments where food handling practices are poor, temperatures fluctuate wildly, and health inspections are simply too infrequent to make a difference. The system responsible for ensuring food safety in America is struggling with staffing shortages while trying to keep up with a rapidly